Hey everyone, I'm Mark,
And I'm Alex.
and this is Final Stop for Final Fantasy Talks. Welcome everyone to the next episode in the podcast. We are going to just continue our Final Fantasy X playthrough. So, where we left off was, we left home, we got the airship, found out that Yuna was kidnapped from the kidnappers. We don't really know where she's at, and then we talked about the Albert Sykes because you're able to kind of actually walk around and all that. So, if you want to walk around and talk to some characters, they say various things and whatnot. I think Waka's is pretty funny just because this dude is struggling to connect the dots here. He's like, wait, Sid said he's Yuna's uncle, right? So that makes her Albed, right?
Yeah, I know. He's piecing it together. And then on the other hand, at this point, you can walk around like you said. If you go outside of the bridge and you go down some of those hallways and take a left into one of those little compartments, Donna's actually on board. And there's an interesting little thing where, you actually get to basically advise her whether or not she should quit her pilgrimage and all this kind of stuff. So pretty interesting. You got Isario on board as well. So it seems that they picked up all the summoners as well.
Yeah, everyone's in there and moved down and around because we only kind of focused on the Sykes and we kind of just stopped it there because we were kind of just running out of time. Yeah, if you talk to Isaru, I think maybe one of his brothers or something, and the various people, they all kind of talk about similar things about like, yeah, it'd be great if summoners didn't die and have to do this, but again, it's their choice, they can do it. And then like I think it's Isaru and or again maybe one of his brothers that talks about like, we don't have that kind of time, it'd be great if we could just sit around forever, but Sin's gonna kill us
Yeah.
while we sit around. Dude, I was thinking about this. I'm like, okay, let's think about since we played this game. Sin attacked Kilika, but we know that was mainly specific to show, again, Titus what he's made of, right? Same with kind of Mihen, like,
Uh-huh.
hey, I'm a killer. Operation Mihen, they brought that on themselves. That wasn't even Sin seeking them out. They sought Sin out. That's been
Yeah.
it. What do you mean you don't have that kind of time, dude? Like, since we've been in Spira, he's literally only attacked one place. The rest he hasn't been around. We don't have that kind of time. Like, what? We need
Yeah.
10,000 more years to figure this out. We don't have that. He's going to go around killing everything. It's like, well, he's not really going on like a nonstop killing rampage here.
And they said that he tends to attack, highly populated places. So, well, just exile yourself to Baj Temple or something like that and sit there and
Yeah.
figure it out for a couple of years. I don't
Seriously.
know, take a calm off to figure it out.
Yeah, no, he's back. We have to hurry up and kill him. I mean, I understand. Yeah, you want to stop him from killing a bunch of people, of course, but they're acting like they
Yeah.
literally, if they don't do it right this second, Sin's just gonna keep killing everyone. It's like, well, kind of hasn't been. So which is it? Yeah, so 10 years isn't enough to figure this out. What are they doing? They know it's coming back. They know it's coming
Yeah.
back, and so they're not thinking during the calm. We don't have that kind of time. Oh wait, yeah, no, we just got off 10 years. Maybe we should have used that. Oh, I mean, come on, man. Poking holes. So Rin's also on this ship. You'll find him. You'll probably see him as you walk around. He talks about how he was at home getting supplies, and it's like, dude, that was just the worst possible time to be there, man. Like, you should have picked a different time. He also will ask Titus how he's doing with the language. So I'm guessing this might change based on how many primers you've picked up.
I think so. I mean, I don't know what the threshold is, what the cutoff is, but honestly, to me, I mean, through my playthroughs, multiple times on this game,
Sure.
it seems like you've either gotten them all up to this point and you get response A, or you've gotten, you missed one plus.
Yeah,
That would be my guess because even when I've only missed one, he does we're about to talk about it, but his response,
yeah,
basically.
and so if you have collected them all, which I have in my playthrough, right, and obviously if you've been following this, you have. Titus is just basically like, yeah, heck yeah, man, it's going well. Watch this, and he goes, "Hello, do sawi," whatever. But it's not like the first time in Mian, right? It's actually it's good. It's really good. Dude, what the heck, man? Rin is he's a jerk. He's like, merely copying something doesn't mean you're fluent, essentially. And it's like, dude, what are you talking about? He said it really,
Yeah,
really great. And he does kind of give him credit. He's like, oh, but your pronunciation's doing well. But it's like,
yeah.
all right, dude, whatever, man.
And on second thought, I'm not even sure if this is, associated with the fact that you have to have all of them which you can't have at this point. I mean, I get that, but I'm trying to remember exactly how that goes, the parameters behind that.
And well, Ren's actually also a blitzball player, so he's kind of more geared towards a center role. It kind of seems that's what his stats really kind
Yeah,
of
he's a
revolve
pretty good
around.
center.
He's not too
Yeah.
bad. Of course, we've talked about pretty much all of them up to this point. Like, there's very few free agents we haven't discussed. And as far as a center from level 1, there are much better options. You know, that there are. It's not that he's a bad option, but there are much better ones. And that's mainly because he's a late bloomer. I mean, that's just really what it is. In the end, it's not too bad. 66 endurance at level 99, 44 attack, 59 pass, 72 block. I mean, so he's actually a pretty good center, but it's just one of those where it's kind of really, really mediocre up until about level 60, and then that's when the stats kind of actually start to get some good boosts. Pass is pretty much the only thing that's like, yeah, it's pretty good at the beginning and stays. Only ends at 59. I say only, I mean, that's still pretty high, but, for being high, strong in the beginning, that's like kind of the only stat that actually doesn't really grow towards the end.
Yeah, his pass isn't outstanding for a center, but I think the other things, his redeeming qualities, definitely his block. His endurance is pretty good. So I mean, yeah, overall, he's a pretty good, like above average center. But yeah, going back to what we were talking about earlier too. So if you continue on down that hallway there, and then I believe there's a little side room, right? And then that's where you find Donna.
Yeah, and she's in there, and at first she's just like, leave me alone. She's kind of like, she's very dejected, you could tell, and it's like, yeah, she just went through an ordeal. As Titus is like, all right, whatever. So as he's going to leave, she's just like, hold on, what would you say if I was to say I'd give up my pilgrimage? And you got two options. So you could say, sure, sounds good to me, or who cares? Which you might be very tempted to say, because Donna has not been very kind to us at this point. So it's kind of like, who cares about you, lady? Like, I don't care.
Seriously, I mean, it's tempting. It's tempting, but I mean, this can actually impact where she is later in the game.
Yeah, if you say, sure, sounds good to me, she does. And if you do select that, she's just kind of like, interesting. Most people would never think to tell a summoner that, because it's like, oh, you chose to be a summoner? Oh, you must do your duty. No giving up is kind of like what it seems like. And so she will actually quit it, and you can later find her at Doze Temple. But if you just say, who cares, can't quite remember what she says at that, because I didn't select that one.
Think of something like, have some sympathy or something, she has some sort of like sarcastic response to it. So
it's like, well, tit for tat, lady, have some sympathy, But she will then, I guess, continue it, and once you get to Xanarkin later, she'll actually be there as well. And so, just kind of a small little thing, interesting. You obviously don't have to do that at all. After it's all said and done, also, we forgot to mention, Rin does have a shop, but, like, it's nothing good. I mean, the weapons and stuff, they're kind of just slight variables. They have, like, kind of the basic, like, maybe magic +5, strength +5, and then just one slot.
Exactly. I think it's just one slot free, right? And then, like you said, they're all just basically strength or magic plus, and then HP +5.
So, I mean, if you're kind of just desperate and really need something with slots, that's there, but it is only one slot, and they're not particularly fantastic items. So that is there, though, if you need items too as well. But once you're all done with this area, you're done. I mean, you can walk all over. You can go all the way up to the top. You can talk to people and stuff. But once you're done, the way to progress it, which I'm pretty sure I definitely did not figure out for a while, right? I mean, it's like you're going around talking to everyone, like, what do I need to do here? Like, gosh, what do I need? Well, you got to go talk to Brother, of all people. And he is the one that's like, he's like, we found Yuna. It kind of goes to a little scene, and it shows that, hey, what do you know? She decided to go ahead and get married after all. She likes necrophilia is maybe what she kind of has. Maybe a slight little taste for the undead, because there's zombie Seymour, and, well, they're about to get married.
Well, yeah, and isn't this kind of like this whole unsent situation is sort of starting to unfold, right? I mean, we don't know everything about it at this point. We're kind of starting to see more of this. We know that we killed Seymour, and then here he is. There was really not, there wasn't like a huge explanation.
Yeah, like
at
what point did he wake up after he was dead? Like, oh,
right,
I'm
right. We
now.
just know that. Exactly. We just know that Yuna couldn't send him, so they dragged him off, and then this was the next time we see him after Beaconell and all that kind of stuff that's just happened. But
don't quite understand it, but we'll get a little bit more here in a bit. It's pretty funny. Once Titus hears this, though, we found Yuna. He's like, Gramps, let's go.
And the other thing too, I don't know if we mentioned this in our previous episode, but the sphere oscillofinder,
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
It's like
Yeah.
we're gonna use this to find out where she's at.
We just type in the name, see Yuna, and it goes boop, 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 scan found. It's like, okay, and then it sends out apparently a little probe camera, because like the view that we get, the scene, is apparently what they see as well. It's like, what is going on here, man? What kind of technology is this?
But I mean, isn't this also the part where it's like, Yuna's there, so we go and get her. And then he sort of like looks back and does the cheesy grin.
Yeah, and like he's like, I like your style. And so he
Yeah,
basically tells
exactly.
brother to gun it. Brother's just like, bam, shoots it. Dude, out of everyone, and
Hilarious.
Sid's the best, because he's just standing upright, locked knee, and he doesn't move an inch. Titus, meanwhile, dude, he just loses his footing, does somersault backwards. No one else is doing it either. So, like, what's going on with Titus, man? He just has no tread on his shoes anymore, I guess.
Oh man, no, you guys know what we're talking about here. That scene where he like takes off exactly, and then the screen goes all blurry, kind of like in Home
screen.
again. And it is hilarious because Titus just flies back, and everybody's just standing upright, and they don't even flinch.
Yeah, it's like,
It's
okay,
like,
dude. Like, I get if Sid was like, yeah, he's used to it, but everyone else should have maybe fallen back too, and that would have been
you've got
like
Lulu in the background.
Yeah,
I think
dude, I
she's
mean,
just chilling.
she's just like, oh yeah, that's no big deal. Well, so at this point, you're able to move around. You have to just kind of head out of the bridge, and then Rin comes in, and he's basically just like, there's fiends on board. So it's like, you're awfully calm. He's like, I'm calm in most things.
Yeah, you hear like sort of like screams and stuff like that, and some beasts roaring, and like the dual horns again. And of course, it's all of the same encounters, those annoying auto guardians, plus the dual horns, or the evil eyes, or bombs, just all of those ones. So
we'll get to why that might be somewhat helpful here in a second, but apparently Sid was like, he says something like, there's fiends on board, there's only one thing to do, and then Rika comes in, we gotta sink the ship, or something like that.
No, yeah, Rico's like, blow up the ship and all go down together.
Yep.
And then it goes to Sid's face. He's like, huh?
Dude, his face is like, huh? What? It's just like, oh,
he's all confused. He's just like, you got to learn a little restraint, Pops.
Yes. Yeah, he's very much just like, blow it up altogether, man. We'll just rebuild. Yeah. It's all right, no big deal. But
exactly, she was trying to predict what he was gonna say or something like that.
Well, he didn't say anything, so apparently she was pretty close. Yeah, so if you do what we like to do, which is just run through the ship. I mean, we don't like to do. You basically got to go all the way up on deck, and at that point, as you kind of move through, there's a couple of dudes on the left-hand side. One of them will give you Albed potions ×4, so I mean, go ahead and get that if you want. But on the right side, or I think if you just move forward, it goes to a little cutscene. And outside the ship, which we are all flying, by the way, okay, we're flying in the air, but there's like this giant, I don't know, dragon worm thing, right? And it's just like, it's not like in a flying motion, right? It's like in a hovering motion, and it's apparently, okay, it's just like, it's just sliding through the air like that, or whatever, but you learn that it's Evray, the guardian worm, and dude, I remember this part, we, as younger, as teenage boys will do, we just loved this part because it's a worm. Whoa, that's huge. And all this. I remember we even like recorded it, spliced it together to make it seem very, very funny. And
yeah. No, and it's the whole sequence there too. You've got Orin, he's like, now that's quite a sight. And then Titus goes, oh, that's huge.
Yeah. Rika comes up, and so you learn essentially that it's like, I guess, Bevelle's guardian, so to speak. It just protects Bevelle.
The guardian worm. Yep. Yeah, there's also another funny, a really great one-liner by Orin here where he goes, the red carpet has teeth.
Yeah, the red carpet.
Love that one.
Yeah, rolling out the red carpet. And so, well, yes, Sid wants to fight it. We're like, okay, I mean, I guess we have to. We couldn't just outmaneuver it and just go on. No, I guess we have to fight it. This is kind of an interesting fight. So you gotta go out the deck. Rin's there. There's a save sphere, so you definitely save it. The battles on the ship will be in handy if you just really need to level up, right? I mean, if you're really like struggling in this battle and
True.
all, that would be like kind of the only
Yeah.
thing that I would say, because there's not really any benefits from those battles other than that.
The other thing too is you have Rin, who's basically a shop, so you've got infinite, whatever you need, basically healing items.
Yes. This thing, man, it's pretty hefty. I mean, 32,000 health, so it is a pretty interesting scenario, too, with that you actually have some commands and triggers. So Sid will, once you're on deck, he's like, listen, I'm trying to remember exactly, but you can move him back and forth. He's like, we can get away from that thing. And he's
It's like
got,
move in or pull back.
yeah,
Yeah.
move in, pull back, and if you are pulled back, then you can actually, once you'll see Sid, he's actually in the turn. You're like, whoa, what the heck? Well, you'll actually fire missiles, and that's what it goes to, shows a little cutscene, and it, like, the things are opening up. We're gonna fire some missiles out, so it's like, all right, cool. I don't know, man. What's kind of your starting out with this? What do you like to do? How do you like to start this battle?
Well, to begin with, I usually try to get everybody's turn in. If that's what you're trying to do, everybody gets the experience,
Sure.
of course. But to be honest, what I usually like to do is hit them up with Dark Buster or something like that to blind them right off the bat. Like to use Haste with Titus, like to use Cheer. And then basically, I mean, maybe get a steal in. I believe with this guy, you can steal water gems
Yep.
times 2 or
Water
3.
gems, yeah.
It's nothing crazy, but kind of nice to get, so I get a quick steal in. Then I'll usually pull back. Usually, if you do that, I believe the first time, I don't know the exact chances, but he has mechanics. So if you pull back after a certain amount of time, he'll do a swooping scythe attack and he'll come back into close range.
Honestly, I really think it's random. I think it has to be random, because in mine, the first turn, and like you said, only Titus and Riku can be the ones that call out to Sid to move back, or or pull forward or whatever. And so I did that first turn. I just moved back, and dude, we stayed at range for, I would say, 80% of the fight. He never came in close. And then all of a sudden he started doing it all the time once so I think it really is just completely RNG with it, which if he does doing that, as you said, so if you are back in Everett, he'll do like the sweeping scythe. They'll come up. It actually does quite a bit of damage. So that's kind of the drawback here. If you need to be back to do the missile salvos. Also, you're at range, so you're really limited. Waka, Magic, and Lancet is pretty much, can't even use items. It says out of range, so you're really limited here. And also with the Magic, he's everything's 50%.
Right. Yeah, he's a pain. And then, I mean, when he's up close too, another reason why you want to pull back quite often, to be honest, is because he's got some really gnarly attacks when you're up close. He can use a poison breath move that hits everybody and does a pretty decent amount of damage. And then, of course, poison is really annoying. And I think he has a stone gaze type of thing. I think that's just one character at a time, if I'm not mistaken.
It's just one character, yeah, but I mean,
I believe so.
Turn to stone, and so that's why maybe like the items of Rin, if you're really having trouble, it's just again RNG, and if he's just using it all the time. Things like Stone Ward, you can just put on with softs, and Poison Ward, you can put on with antidotes. So I mean, those things can help a little bit.
But I mean, overall, I think the strategy is to just keep pulling back, because eventually, like what happened to you, he'll just sit back there and he'll use the photon spray attack, which doesn't really do that much damage, to be honest. I think it does like 400 or 500 damage or something like
and
that.
It's like spread out among characters too. It's one of those that just, it's like random hit. And I had Kamari, Lulu, and Yuna on my. Well, I don't have Yuna, so I just had like a very underdeveloped Waka in there for most of the time. And even he could last like probably 3 photon sprays before I'd need to use an Albert potion. So it's like, it's very weak. And so ideally, you want to keep pulling back for that. And then also the missile salvo. So you get a total of 3 times. Yeah,
because you'll eventually get one off. Exactly. Like, eventually you will get one of these off. And like you said, 3 times. It's kind of cool to see. You get to see a little cutscene and everything. Like, once it comes up to Sid's turn and you're pulled back, he's going to be like, all right, here we go. And, it basically sets off like a salvo of, it's like a multi-hit move. So it does a pretty good amount. It does like 2 to 3,000.
Yeah, I think it's one of those where, it's individual things. So I think it hits maybe like 10 to 15 times or so,
Seems like it, yeah.
It's about like, I'd say maybe 180 to 220 damage each. So probably about 2 to 3,000. So, upwards of almost maybe 10,000 damage that it does. So it's definitely, and it's free. I mean, you don't have to take a turn. It's just there. He'll do it. But I do have a huge bone to pick with this, man. Huge bone. We freaking saw what those missiles did to home, okay? nuclear explosions. Nuclear explosion here, okay? We just shot Everett 3 times, and then it's like, it does like nothing. 200 damage. 200 damage. That's it, dude. That thing should be he should be blown to bits, man. Be like, oh, we got Everett all over us. Like it just blew him to smithereens.
Holmes' HP is only like 1,500. So
maybe it was all the TNT at home. They're like, oh, maybe we should have got rid of that before we blew it up. Maybe that's what happened.
I know, seriously.
That's kind of something funny. But in the end, as long as you just don't really kind of get unlucky with the sweeping sides and the breaths and stuff, shouldn't be that hard. But, sometimes it can be because, RNG is just,
it can be, exactly. This can be like one of the first difficult boss battles in the game where if you're unprepared or you just have the wrong setup or you're underdeveloped or something like that, you might get stuck. But at least, like we said, you've got training opportunities. You can make gills, so basically you can buy however many, you can basically grind if you need to.
Well, you defeat it, and then the 2 probably most favorite cinematics for me in this game. I love these ones where it just, the ship it took some damage. It looks like it's kind of smoking, right? And it just, I don't know. You get to see like Bevelle overall, right? And it's like, whoa, dude, that thing is huge, man. You kind of really just see the city, man, and it just really goes back to even what you just said too, where it's like sin. When people gather, sin tends to attack. Dude, this city has not been touched in a very long time, and it's, like, massive. Why hasn't Sin attacked this? I don't understand.
Yeah, exactly. You would think it would.
Same with Luca, right? It's like, these cities are here. The Crusaders defend it with all their might. Well, we saw what their might does in Mihan. It's pretty pitiful, so I'm not buying that one bit.
I mean, come on. How are they actually going to stop it?
Yeah. Well, and so now we kind of go to just like normal, non-cinematic, and it's showing like Yuna and Seymour. They're kind of essentially walking down the aisle, so to speak. They're coming up, and I mean, you're really seeing like, dude, they probably figured that the Guardians were gonna come try to save Yuna because, dude, this place is just packed full of soldiers, like just completely packed. And there's like some machine-looking things here, probably the Machina and all that. Dude, it's nuts, and it's forbidden. Yeah, all the Wakanda. and then it shows Keenock, right? And you start to see Pyreflies, and he knows what's up. He just like does like the little hand motion, and all you hear the of all the guns, and they're like, okay, yeah, they're at the ready. You see the maesters here, okay? They know, as we'll find out in a bit, they know that Seymour's dead, and so they're just totally cool with the zombie marrying Yuna. They're like, sorry, Yuna, you have to do this. Like, he really needs a wife. He needs to have some children, so you just gotta marry a dead guy. Freaking freaks, man. They're freaks.
Yeah, this is crazy, right? But, I mean, I don't know. It's the way Spirit is. But this is another really, really awesome cinematic here, huh?
Dude, I think this one's the best, man. I love this one. This is where it dives down under the clouds, and so now we're going and circles around, the whole city. Everyone's blasting at it, and it just seems to be like, I don't know, arrows. May as well be bow and arrows, it seems like.
All the Machina seems to be made out of stone in this game for some reason.
I know, right?
I don't know how it's flying, but
exactly. Jet engines, and it shoots down like these. I'm assuming kind of probably what like are the anchors for the airship, so to speak.
They're like anchors with these cables, and you get this just awesome scene where they're all sliding down. And again, I just have to point out another really funny thing, kind of harking all the way back to Luca when they skipped out on Lulu making the jump onto the boat. Well, here similarly, you don't see Lulu in the scene here, okay? Because they couldn't figure out.
Well, I think you do. I think she's in the background. She's just falling off. And you're like, oh yeah, there she is. Whoops.
But it zooms in on Titus after that point, so you don't see anybody else. But it's kind of cool because they're grinding on the cable.
We're gonna date ourselves here, right? I mean, you guys remember the grind shoes? I think those were popular when we were in middle school, right? Like they had the little like kind of plastic pieces in in the middle of your shoes that you could actually go and slide down rails and stuff. Yeah, grinding. That's what they have, man. I mean, how else are they're sliding down metal? Guys, I want you to go ahead, find some metal, cable, mind you, so real rough, and then try to slide down it in your shoes. Like, it's not gonna work.
Well, And Waka's wearing sandals. He's literally wearing sandals, and Kamari's not wearing any
Yeah,
shoes at
he's
all.
just on his
So
pads.
it's
Yeah.
like,
But dude, it is pretty sweet because yeah, Titus is like doing flips over it and it zooms in and he's just like smiling, having fun. It's like, yeah, this may be a super serious moment, but this is fun as heck, man. I'm just enjoying myself here.
get past that and you finally have control, but you really don't want to move here because if you move hardly any, if you go forward too far, you'll get into
Yeah.
this forced encounter. So
It's only like a couple of steps, and yeah, you might need to heal up and do all that stuff after Everay, maybe level up and all that. Because I mean, honestly, this whole section of the game, especially in the original version where there was no autosave, right? It kind of sucked because like you may have just barely beat Everay, and now you're tossed into this, and dude, these battles can be really difficult. And if you lose, well, you got to go all the way back and fight Everay again, before you're saved. Like, there's no save here. And so you'll have a bunch of battles, and it's just kind of a mixture of some of these enemies. So the main ones, especially like the first battle you get into, I think it's like 3, they're called warrior monks, but there's actually kind of 2 variants of them. One's just kind of like the rifle guys. Those ones aren't too bad. They just shoot you for like 250 damage.
exactly, they're the guys wearing like the armor and the green, and they kind of have that helmet on. And then the other guys, the flamethrower guys, are kind of wearing that orange brown
Yeah.
uniform. Their attack sucks because it hits everybody for like 3 to 500.
Yeah, and it's just a normal attack, and it's like, gosh, and
Yeah.
you'll get into other battles here with like multiple of them. So the first one's not too bad. I think they all have like 1400 damage, so you should be able to one shot them pretty easily with just about anyone with physical damage or magic, and stuff. But the next one you get into, man, this is where things start to get serious. It's like I don't know how to describe it, dude. It almost looks like Hitmonlee, the Pokemon. Like it's just I don't
Yeah,
super long
that's actually a
legs.
good way to describe it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like
it
Jet
is pretty
Li
much like that.
and YKT-63. So it's just it's like a machine machina thing.
No, and it's kind of in kick pose. It's got one leg basically up in the air at all times, and it's sort of like doing
Ah!
this little hop on one leg, like ready to kick. And that's exactly what this dude does. He freaking
Oh,
kicks people straight out of battle. What is it, ejects them with thrust kick, which is
yeah.
super annoying. So I think the thing with this guy is do not leave him until the end because he will use thrust kick if you leave him. So you want to get
Yes.
rid of him immediate.
One of the battles, it's like 2 flamethrower guys in the YKT-63, and it's like, well, yeah, I mean, the 2 flamethrowers, man, if you let them go, they're gonna do like 1,000 damage to your whole party. But it's like, well, but that's actually the better course of action because of thrust kick. In which,
Yeah.
if you do have Kamari lancet it, Kamari will learn thrust kick as well, and it's a pretty cool move, man. He like kicks you up in the air, and then he kicks you midair, and then like you're just flying off Bevelle and you're dead, right? I mean that's essentially
Yeah.
it. But yeah, no, it's eject. It's dangerous, man, because even if you do, I mean, it's got decent amount of health, so it's probably going to take at least 2 attacks, probably 3. Oh my gosh, man, I almost had a game over right here because he does other attacks, but if he just only does thrust kick, this is dangerous. He ejected Lulu, then he ejected Kamari. I didn't have anyone else, man. I mean, I was like, no one else can do any damage. Like, he was just barely dead. I had swapped Riku in, which she's not developed. She had 350 health. I mean, that's max. Not I was like, one hit, I'm
Yeah.
dead.
That's like her original
Yeah, the
amount.
original health. And just
So
thankfully, I used a bomb core, and that was enough to finish him off. But, like, yeah, it's that easy. Like, oh my gosh, 2 moves, boom, boom. You're, like, down to one last person. If he ejects that, game over.
oh, for sure. And I mean, I'm surprised you didn't get a game over, to be honest. You're lucky you used a bomb core because I think the other thing I was gonna say on that one is I think he's weak to water and fire. I don't know, but that's interesting, man. Yeah, if you leave him till the end, it's like good luck.
Yeah,
It's
you
a
got
tough one.
it is.
Then you keep going. There's another one later on. This guy he's annoying in different ways, but he's another Machina thing, but this time it's sort of like a floating dual cannon kind of
Yeah.
thing. And
YAT-99, and I think he's
right.
got like two different moves, right? He's got like the single target one, and then kind of one where, depending on where he targets, it hits 2 players, if I'm remembering.
I think there's one that just hits the whole party, and then there's one that hits one player. And basically, the one that hits the whole party doesn't do as much. The one that hits one can hit super hard, like you wrote here, basically like sometimes can do like 18, 1900,
Yeah.
2000 damage. So it'll
Insane.
take out Lulu easily and stuff.
Yeah.
He hits hard basically is the annoying part. So
Yeah, and he's kind of like in the back row, and then they'll kind of run up to him, and then you can actually hit him with melee players and stuff like that. It's a lot of things. Now, luckily, you are able to like get into your menu after all these, right? But if you just keep moving forward, you will get into these. So it's kind of like, yeah, try not to chain it if you need to heal up in between. To stop, get into your menu, do that. But once you do fight through everyone, you get kind of a series of scenes where, well, you fought all the way up there, but you still get surrounded anyways. It's like, come on, man, we just took out like everyone up here. Where'd all these other dudes come from?
Yep, exactly. They're basically like putting their guns right up to Titus's neck and everything like that. They're just holding him all at gunpoint.
Yeah, Keenock does that, and well, Yuna's got a trick up her sleeve though, man. She's got her staff with her, and so she actually steps back and she actually starts to send. And I think Seymour's even like, "You would play at marriage for a chance to send me," and it's like, yeah, absolutely. And so she's going, but Micah's just like, "Stop! Don't you care about your friends?"
Exactly. I love his voice there. He's like, do you not value your friends' lives?
Yes, and so essentially Micah has given her the choice, like, well, you could go ahead and send him and all your friends will die, or you can lay down your staff and your friends will live, is kind of what it is. She goes ahead, drops her staff, and then it goes to another cinematic where, Seymour is, oh boy, how to tiptoe around this delicately. He's kissing an underage woman, and he's also a zombie, so that's kind of like two negatives here, pal. Not good.
Yeah, it is kind of weird, right? And then the whole time, basically, I like how it goes to Waka and everybody. It's like, oh,
Yeah, dude, because he was kissing, man. He didn't just go for a peck. He was just like, give me a smooch, lady.
Yeah, and everybody's just like in shock.
Titus is like,
Titus is fuming. Yeah,
Titus is
he's sitting
balling.
there quite literally about to bubble.
There goes my woman. She's married. Oh.
Yeah, this is the final nail for Seymour, man.
Yeah,
This
yes.
basically cements him as the bad guy, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And so they're married. I mean, this is legit. They actually are married legally by law. Even if he is dead, I guess you can marry dead people. And so it goes.
Because you got the bells going off and all that
Yeah,
stuff, and
it
then
happens.
everybody's like clapping.
And well, he doesn't really honor Micah's kind of assumed deal because he's like, kill him. And like, I don't care. Kill them. Go ahead. All right, I'm married. I got her. She's mine now. Like, kill him. And so somehow she gets away, though, Yuna, and she's kind of like at the ledge, and she's like, stop, let him go, or I'll just jump off and kill myself, essentially, is what she's kind of like alluding to. They're all right there, so they go up to her, and she's like, you should probably leave right now, right? Like, why don't you leave? And she's like, I'll be fine. They're like, don't do it. She's like, trust me. Dude, she doesn't even wait for them to escape. Like, talk about, she is a poor negotiator. Orin had it right, man. Like, what are you doing? You just gave away all your leverage. You jumped off. All your friends could have been killed right then and there. Like,
even before that, there was the whole symbolic, she wipes her mouth, right? From the kiss and everything,
I don't want your kiss.
It was sort of like in disgust, basically, when he was like, this is silly. If you fall, you'll die. It's like, gee, you think it's about 2,000 feet?
Yeah, wow. Nice. Captain Obvious coming in hot here. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, she wipes the kiss, and then he kind of just gives like a real evil smirk, like, hey, like, yep.
Yeah,
I already infected you with my zombie juice.
But yeah, basically she just jumps off, and then you're thinking, what the heck is she gonna do? And then she somehow summons Velafor midair.
Guess you don't need a staff. Guess you don't have to do the dance. So why can you save us some time in battles then? Can we just get him down here? We have to literally watch you do the dance every time? Like, apparently you don't have to.
It's an awesome scene though, and then Velafor comes, basically nose dives straight down, flattens out, and like basically just cushions her. I mean, of course, this is classic Final Fantasy stuff where none of the characters can die. So
no, none of them can die, and again,
Yuna
now all the Guardians are up there like, well, crap, she's gone. Hey guys, please don't shoot me now that Yuna's gone. No, Riku comes in clutch, though. She tosses, like, in a flash grenade.
Cover
Dude,
your eyes!
cover your eyes, dude. Busts right in front. Dude, Seymour would be blind for, like, 2 days, man. It, like, literally landed 2 feet in front of him. He's like, what's that thing? Oh, crap, and
Yep, and as classic, with the music and everything,
it's
because
time.
we got to do an escape. Yeah, exactly. It's like the tense escape at this point and everything. But
Good that they leave single file, though. It's like, let me at. Titus is like, let me at him. And, Oren basically says,
Let
like,
me at 'em.
live to fight another day. But as they're coming down, it's just like, here comes one. Here comes another. Here comes a third. It's like, come on, guys. Like, you need to all rush out all at once here. Like,
anyways, somehow you just give him the slip, I guess. I mean, I don't know how the heck they were able to shake him so easily. We had the flash grenade for sure, but yeah, we got away scot-free. And so you get this little scene where you basically go into the temple now, right? So we're at the entrance, and lo and behold, there's just Machina everywhere.
yeah, I mean, that's what, yeah, they're at, like, we're guessing it's the entrance of the temple itself because, yeah, they're like, well, where would Yuna go? They're like, the temple for sure, that's where she would go, pray to the faith, which is like, can we maybe come back later? Like, we're kind of fugitives on the run here, and let's just go into the heart of the city and be sitting ducks. Yeah, sure, that makes sense. But anyways, yes, they get in there, and there's a panel, and Riku's like, oh, what's this? Do. And Waka's like, whoa, what's going on? Temple? Like, there's Machina in the temple? And Oren basically states the obvious that, hey, what do you know? The church is going against their own teachings. Hey, surprise!
Yeah, yep, the veil has finally been lifted, right? So now we see Yevon's true face, we see Yevon's true colors. It's just completely hypocritical. But the funny thing to me is that I don't really understand how Arn didn't knew that. I feel like
Yeah,
he
they
knew
had
this,
to have
but
been
he
there
just
before.
didn't want to say. Right, I feel like this couldn't be that much of a surprise to him. So I always kind of wonder, did he actually know and he was just sort of,
I think he
playing
did. I
along?
think it's kind of like, in Xanarkin, when we'll get there, it's kind of one of those things. He doesn't want to say it without seeing. It'd be really like
Yeah.
Waka. Do you think Waka would believe Orn if he said that way back? Like, oh, you hate Machina? Well, you know that
Right,
Yevon uses
right.
Machina, right? Waka would be like, no
Yep.
way.
Exactly, because he's not acting surprised. He's just like, well, this is the true face of Yevon, so now you see.
And also a comment we forgot to make even earlier when they're at gunpoint, Keenock, like, Oren was like, aren't those weapons forbidden by Yevon? And then Keenock's like, we have exceptions. It's like, no, there's no exceptions.
Yeah.
It's either they are or they aren't. So you get all the way down to the stairs and you go through some stuff. And actually, before entering the cloister, they kind of talk about, like, hey, let's go in and we'll do the cloister and the trials. There is an Albed primer. Don't forget to pick it up.
Yeah, this is one you definitely do not want to miss. You at least want to make a separate save file here just to make sure that you get this one. It's kind of sitting like, so basically up to the door, there's like a little 90-degree curve, like turn.
Yeah.
And it should be just sitting right on the floor right there.
It's like on the path leading up to the save sphere. So before we go in the door, definitely make sure you get that. And, well, another cloister. Again, like the others, we're not going to go through this because this one actually is kind of the most complex. It's not, like, super difficult, but, again, kind of like the others.
This one.
Maybe Macalania, up to that point, you may have been able to kind of figure out without any sort of guides. But, dude, I have no idea how the heck you would kind of, like, really know all the correct steps in doing this one.
Yeah, I finally got it down. I mean, after I think this last time, I just decided to try and do it off memory and
Sure.
was able to remember how to do it. But I mean, yeah, this one is just so weird. You don't even have free range of movement. Basically,
No.
you're standing on like a platform that's a Machina platform that goes through these weird little like tunnels and things like that, and you glide along until you get to these junctions where they have the arrows, and basically like a metronome, they go on intervals of like 2 seconds or 1 second or whatever, pointing in whatever direction, so up. And it's just really annoying because at each of these junctions, you got to wait for it to reach the direction you want to go and then press X at the right time, and it sends you off in that direction. It's really weird.
And sometimes you actually can't even get it in time. Like, it just doesn't match up with
Oh,
your
it's so
speed, and so you have to fall off your
Right.
head, restart. I had to do that. One of them, I had to do it 3 times because I was like, and you can
I
mash
know
it too. I mean, you can sit
exactly.
there and mash it. I'll mash and it goes by. I'm like, come on, man. And then you gotta go back, go through it again, do it again. Oh, come on, man. I'm like, gosh. And so once you do finish it and you use the destruction sphere, same thing, you're always going to have to do that. There'll be a chest with an HP sphere, and then you'll kind of build a path with the thing, push the podium over, and then you'll actually get a Knight's Lance. And now you're at the Chamber of Faith. So you go across, and there you go. And they're like, "Where's Yuna?" And they're like, "Probably inside." And Titus starts kind of lifting up the door, and everyone's still like, "It's like, look, man, like, look what you guys just saw out there. Like, screw these taboos, man. Why are we following these rules anymore?" And so he's trying to get inside, and dude, here comes Kamari, though, man. We would expect that. And he's just like, "Stand aside, little boy." He's like, lifts it up.
Yeah, they kind of look at each other for a second there. Yeah, he's helping him finally. Remember, like way back in the day when he basically shoved him for
Pushed him
trying to
up.
get too close to that door. Yeah, exactly. He was like the ultimate guardian.
Yeah. You head in, and well, and Yunu's praying, and lo and behold, Oren's apparently in there too. It's like, dude, where'd you get in here? But this is Titus' first experience in here, and so he's like, "What is that?" And that's when Oren kind of breaks it down. He's like, "Well, that's the faith. It's like their souls are trapped in stone for eternity, and they merge with the summoner's soul, I'm assuming, and that's how they receive the Aeon. But because they've been trapped in here for so long, he ends with the whole thing of like the dead should be able to rest." And it's like, yeah, man. I mean, gosh,
Yeah.
these
And,
people's souls
and
are
I love
trapped
how
forever.
I know, isn't that crazy? Honestly, it really is a interesting concept to think about and really actually kind of scary that their souls are trapped forever, basically like that. In this never-ending cycle. The other cool thing about being in the faith or in that room, because this is the first time we've actually been able to go in the Chamber of
Yeah.
Faith, but you also get the hymn of the faith in the background, and it's always just kind of interesting, like
Yeah. Well, this time it's actually a little
going on
higher
in the
pitched because
background.
it's the little boy. And so actually
True,
this
yeah,
is an
yeah.
interesting one too, because we actually know that kid. We're like, "Whoa, hey, who is that?"
Right.
And he's
From the
there.
very beginning.
And it is really sweet too, man, because yeah, like what in the center, it's almost kind of like, a glossed over thing. You kind of see this, I don't even know, this amalgamation of like a beast and a human kind of like together or something, like the stone and
Hard to explain,
yeah, it
yeah.
really is. You actually get to talk with him, and this kid basically gives the breakdown, kind of similar to what Orm was saying, like, "Hey, man, we're just stuck in here. We're really tired, all this." And you actually get Bahamut. And so that's when you're like, okay, so this kid is Bahamut, man. And it's like, so what was he doing
Yeah.
all the way at the beginning? We could have used you to fight those sin scales, by the way, little boy. But
Yeah, I know, right? And that's something that we won't know for a little bit still, is exactly why he was there and what he has to do with
yeah.
Titus, I guess.
Why there's a relationship there, but it is starting to finally kind of all fall together and fill in a lot of the blanks, and so kind of interesting. Yuna gets the Aeon, and she kind of fades, so Titus walks out. But thanks, Riku. Thanks for telling us not to come out
No, don't
after
come
we
out
have
now.
after we've come out. Like you could. They showed up like, "Hey, don't come out." No, wait, the door's opening. Oh, wait, no, don't come out. Come on, man, wait a heads up here. But they did kind of allude to at the beginning, it's probably a trap. It's too quiet, where is everyone? It's a trap. Well, it is. Keenock and a bunch of soldiers are outside. They're to stand trial. Oren's like, "I hope it's a fair trial." And it's like, of course it will be. Yeah, sure.
Keenock he's always just sounds really sinister.
Dirtbag, man.
He's like, "Do you really think I would do that?" It's like, "Yeah, I do actually."
Yeah. Let's let him dream a little longer. Okay, man.
Right, I
Yeah.
know.
And so now we're kind of going to the trial. We actually get to look at the last maester. So we know it's Keenock, Seymour, Micah. We knew there's a fourth one. We didn't know up to the time, but it's actually Ronso. His name is Kelk. He has this a really, really cool mustache. So that's what I got out of that. But he's basically
An elder.
he's basically leveling the charges against Yuna. You like mortally wounded or you severely wounded a maester. You led like an uprising, like a rebellion with the Al Bhed and all this stuff. And Yuna, dude, she spits back though. She's like, the real traitor is Seymour. He killed his father. And Kelk, he apparently didn't know. He's like, what's this and stuff. And I love Seymour's response here is probably the best ever. He's like, haven't you heard?
Yeah, about killing Jiskel, exactly. Because the second thing she brings up is like, furthermore, he's unsent. Like, it's, and then Lulu, she's like, well, it's a summoner's sacred duty to send the dead.
Oh, here we go. Even more bombs, man. Well, Micah's like, send the unsent. Give rest to, something like that. He's like, well, you'd have to send me too. And, well, he releases some pyrify. Like, great. Okay, so everyone's just dead around here. Like, Lulu, are you even real, man? Are you dead too? Waka, you must be dead also. Everyone's just dead right and left.
And Kelk, he didn't know about Jiskel, but I feel like they all knew that Micah was
Yeah.
unsent, so there
Yeah,
wasn't
well,
too much of a surprise on their part. However, we didn't know that.
no,
So
we didn't know that, and I think Kelk even said like the wisdom that Maester Micah has is just invaluable. Like we need him
he's
and
a
stuff. And it's
yeah,
like, okay,
yeah,
so
exactly.
you're telling me that literally no one else in all of Spira can do this job. It has to be
Well,
a dead zombie
it's,
forever. Like, great, okay, that's way to
yeah,
place a
we need
lot
to
of faith
rely
into your citizens.
exactly. We need to rely on the wisdom of a zombie here, because
Yeah.
they do say something like that. It's like leadership or the wisdom of the dead is preferable to the misguided something or other of the
Yeah.
living, right?
Yeah, they
Isn't it
each
Keenock
kind
who
of
said
give
that?
like a little thing on why that's totally fine.
Yeah.
Seymour says, "Life is but a passing dream, but the death that
Oh
follows
yeah.
is eternal." Okay,
That's a
cool.
great
So you
quote.
just want to die, so that way you
Just
can
be
live
dead.
forever as a dead person. Okay. Yes, this makes lots of sense, guys. Great, and the music here is kind of really ramping up too, and Yuna's really struggling with the fact that, whoa, okay, so Micah's dead. This is all the stuff, like, it's like the whole house of cards here is kind of falling down around them, of like how church is just complete hypocritical and doesn't even follow through for what they stand for and all this. And so she basically, it's like, were all the summoner sacrifices in vain, and he's like, no, not in vain, but he's like, basically spills too. He's like, sin cannot ever truly be defeated. So
Hmm.
they know it will always come back. The cycle will never end. It will continue going on forever, and yet they're still trying to force it and make it happen for what? So they're just like truly just really trying to sacrifice people for no reason.
Yeah, it's a real bombshell moment here. And I gotta point out too, the music that's playing, the tense music, is actually the same music that they played during Operation Mihen,
Ah, yes.
during that build up and everything. Yeah, so if that sounds familiar, that's where, and it's kind of this just really tense, foreshadowing kind
Yeah.
of sounding music. But
Yeah.
anyways, yeah, Micah's whole thing here too is really interesting, right? Because it's like, behind the unholy armor that is sin, you Yevon is immortal. And basically, and then he finishes up by saying it's like, those who question these truths, they are the traitors.
Yes. Don't question us. Just do what we
Yeah,
say. Don't ever question. If you do question, you're a traitor. Great. Wow, guys. Way to promote free thinking. Don't ever don't ever have a
yeah,
brain.
exactly. Cannot question. It's like the Spanish Inquisition here,
Yeah.
or something like.
Yeah,
No,
seriously.
no, I mean that's quite literally what they're trying to do with this story. I think, though, with the aspect of religion, it's very much this oppressive. Don't question. Follow the tradition. Don't be a traitor.
Yeah. And so at that point it kind of fades. It goes into a cage, and there's some dude named like Shuyan who he's trying to get out of it. There's like Vagabond, there's like this giant
Wait
oh
a
wait, no,
minute.
well, I'm the wrong one.
Wait. Whoa.
No, it's
What was that?
Shuyan.
Shuya.
but no, it's Orda
Yeah.
Titus. They're in this cage that
Yeah.
that looks very familiar, but they're just rattling off everything they hear. And he's like, dude, why is like literally everything revolve around dying here in Spira? And Oren's like, the great spiral of death, and he kind of just rattles off all the things. But it's like, yeah, no, it really literally is revolving around death.
Oren basically just sounds like he's giving his routine lecture, and he does that little sigh. He's like, the spiral of death. Yeah, basically everything revolves around death. Sin, the arbiter of death, people that get killed by sin, they get sent or they turn into fiends. The fiends then, it's
Yeah,
just this whole
well,
spiral, basically.
summoners give their lives.
Yeah,
Guardians give their lives to protect the summoners. Then
yep,
Sin's just reborn and just cause more death, and it just goes on and on and on and on forever. It never ends. Well, Keenock
exactly.
arrives, and he's just coming in, and something like, give your sentence, and Oren's like, sentence or execution? Come
I
now,
mean,
who would
execution.
execute a dear friend? You would.
But yeah, this guy's just shifty. Yeah, so what is our sentence gonna be? So, I guess it's, the Via Purifico, right? And it's,
Why not just shoot him in the head and be done with it? Like, I don't
know, uh,
understand.
is this not just classic bad guy logic, though? I mean, you gotta love it, right? Because it's just like James Bond
Yeah,
movies and every kind of protagonist, antagonist type of thing where they had the chance to end it, and they choose to, like, toy around with them and keep
yeah,
them around and, to
yeah.
their downfall, to their detriment.
So Titus's sentence, you're sentenced to swim around until you die. Okay, like what? What a
Good.
stupid way to kill people. I mean, yeah. So
Yeah, like, do you notice the spikes around the
you
pool of
can't
water
climb out,
there where
man.
the guards Oh, there's no way you can climb over
No,
those.
no.
No
They
way at all.
no, they're way all you don't see it, but they're microserrated everything, so you can't even touch
Yeah,
them. It's like yeah, no, it's like
they're
there's
electrocuted.
they're like 3 feet apart. It's like okay, I'll just wait for you to leave, and then I'll just hoist myself up onto these spikes and just get out of here. No, I mean it's pretty funny, yeah, because that's what the soldier pushes Titus in, and Titus is like, what am I supposed to do? Or he's like, where's everyone else? Oh, I don't know.
No
Swim around down there, maybe, or something
Yeah,
like that.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah, and the other fortunate thing is they happen to just throw all 3 of the only 3 characters that can actually swim and fight underwater together, so that was nice of
All
them.
right,
So
who here
you've
can
got,
swim? Waka,
Alright.
Titus, Riku, Riz, and they're like, all right, we're gonna give you guys a swimming
Okay.
punishment that features your strength. So get on in there. All
Yeah,
right, now we
no.
don't want people to just drown instantly, and so yeah, no, that's what it is. Titus swims away, sees Waka and Riku, and they're high five, like, what's up, guys? And they're just kind of wondering like where everyone else is, and then they're like, well, let's wait for him at the end. They assume there is an end. How do you guys know there is an end? It might just be a closed
Well,
circle. There is no exit.
that's what I mean. That's the thing that cracks me up the most is they literally use the word, "Well, we'll meet him at the exit." About an exit to a prison. Like, it's okay, guys, just look for the exit signs.
10 minutes to the
Emergency
exit this
exit.
way. They have like the little red exit signs, with the arrows like
That's
this
what I'm
way.
saying. I can imagine it. "Alright, guys, emergency exit. Safety first." Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Well, after that, I think it goes back to like just like kind of like the trial room or whatever
Yeah,
we want to
little
call that.
cutscene.
And it's got some really ominous. It's an ominous scene and it's got some real ominous music too, right?
It's got the, Seymour music going on in the
Yeah.
background, like one variation of it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's great. It fits this scene perfectly too. I mean, it just
Yeah,
really
really.
does. It really sets the scene. And so you got Micah, Seymour, and Keenock. They're all here, and kind of like how Kelk Ronso took the news, of Seymour killing his dad, and
Yeah.
they're like, I don't think he really took it. Here's Micah, man. It just really shows what he thinks about this guy's ever the Ronso, hard-headed. Hardly useful. Dude, it's savage, man. Just like, gosh, all right, man. Tell me how
Yeah.
you really think
Poor
about the Ronso
Ronso.
race here.
I know they're it's almost like it was like a pity inclusion, you know what
Yeah,
I
all
mean? They just
right,
have
we'll
them on there
include them.
just to sort of be representative of the populace of spirit, but they don't respect his opinion whatsoever, and, he's obviously left in the dark.
Yeah, well, yeah, because he's not even here with them. They're just like
Right.
basically talking behind his back, and they kind of start to strategize. They're like, well, like there is a chance that all the crew will survive. Via Purifico is what they call it. So now we know the name. The name of the prison's called Via Purifico, and so they're like, there's still a small chance. So Micah's like, so let's send some guards at the exit. Seymour full on just volunteers. Is like, I'll go.
Yeah.
First your father, now your bride. You're just willing to kill everyone around you, man. Goodness gracious.
Oh, yeah, and then even more brutal. "Allow me to do this
Bec-
because she's my
because she's
bride."
my
It's
wife, allow me to
okay,
kill her. I don't want just any Joe Schmo killing her. I want to kill her.
Yeah, and he's got a really sick, twisted mentality, right? Where we're finding this out. It'll definitely go more into this, but death seems to be the solution for him, right? You
Yeah.
had that line even just a minute ago, where it's like, "Death is a peaceful slumber."
Keenock's like, I'll go with you. And he's like, don't trust me. Would you trust someone who killed his father? He's like, good point. All right, come on along.
Gotcha. Next thing you know is
Forgive me,
Yuna.
Lady
It's
Yuna.
just that's right. Yeah, you have that little comment at the
Yeah,
beginning. You don't know who it
his
is, but
jailer, soldier, or something. Yeah, is is forcing Yuna to go into her essential prison, which once again isn't like a cell or isn't a firing line or anything. No, it's just like it's a room, and so you'll find Yuna.
It's like a dungeon.
Yeah, it's like it's like a dungeon that they were nice enough to install teleport pads in. Who designed this jail, man? These people are the morons. Like, okay, we'll give you some teleports. You don't have to walk. We'll let you teleport around, and that's kind of what it starts with. It kind of gives you like kind of like an tutorial message of like just these are the teleport pads. This is how they use it with the arrows and all that. And then at that point, you are able to move with Yuna, and if you go into the menu, you'll find it's only Yuna, so keep that in mind. That might actually be kind of an issue, possibly. But if we move forward, there is the safe sphere, and I think that's where we're going to end it. So we'd like to thank you all for hanging out with us this episode, spending time listening to the podcast. We really appreciate the support. You can go ahead to our website, our social media, same thing, finalstopfinalfantasy.com, same handle, and we just got, the various things there. We're starting to kind of build up our Blitzball stuff. If you're interested in that, definitely check that out. The various medias and stuff on Instagram, definitely some great remarks that we're going to be posting from these, great one-liners from this episode, man.
Yeah, a lot of really good ones in this past episode.
Yeah, so be on the lookout for that. It's just really fun to kind of just pick at those little moments and just kind of discuss them a bit. All right, well, I'm Mark.
And I'm Alex.
And this is Final Stop for Final Fantasy Talks.